I never allowed anyone in my wine cellar. Not even my son Thomas in his 35 years. The door at the end of our basement hallway has stayed locked since I built this house in 1989, and only one key exists. It hangs on a chain around my neck, where it's been for decades. People ask why. Friends, family, even my late wife Margaret asked before she passed. I always gave the same answer. Some things are meant to be private. Some spaces are sacred. The cellar isn't just a room. It's a lifetime of careful choices, of patience, of waiting for the right moment. It represents something most people today don't understand anymore. I'm 63 now. I started collecting wines when I was 28, fresh out of the Navy and working my first real job as an engineer. Back then, I didn't know a Bordeaux from a Burgundy, but I learned. I spent years learning. I traveled to France, Italy, California. I met vintners, walked through vineyards, studied harvest years and soil conditions. Every bottle in that cellar tells a story. Every label represents a decision, a moment in time. The collection is worth something now. I don't talk about numbers, but let's just say it would fund a comfortable retirement or pay for a house in full. But that was never the point. The point was the pursuit, the education, the discipline of choosing quality over quantity, of waiting decades for something to reach its peak. Thomas never showed interest. As a kid, he'd run past that basement door chasing the dog or looking for his baseball glove. As a teenager, he was too busy with friends and football. As a young man, he moved to Seattle for work, came home for holidays, asked about my health and mom's garden, but never once asked about the wines. I was fine with that. Proud, even. He was building his own life, making his own way. He didn't need to inherit my passions. He just needed to be a good man. He was a good man. Is a good man, I should say. Thomas works in tech sales, makes decent money, lives in a nice apartment in Capitol Hill. He's responsible, pays his bills, calls every Sunday. When Margaret got sick 3 years ago, he flew home every other weekend to help. He sat with her, held her hand, made her laugh when the chemo made her feel like hell. That's the son I raised. That's the man I'm proud of. Then he met Madison. It was last spring, April, if I remember right. The dogwoods were blooming when he called to tell me he'd started seeing someone. He sounded happy, excited in a way I hadn't heard since his college graduation. She worked in marketing, he said. Smart, beautiful, ambitious. They'd met at some networking event downtown. I was happy for him, cautiously happy. At 63, you've seen enough of life to know that first impressions don't tell the whole story. But I kept that to myself. Let him be excited. Let him be young. I met Madison in June. Thomas brought her down for Sunday dinner. She arrived in a white BMW, stepped out wearing designer everything. Sunglasses that probably cost more than my monthly grocery bill. Heels that clicked on my driveway like a countdown timer. She was beautiful. I'll give her that. Blonde, put together. The kind of woman who looks like she stepped out of a magazine. But there was something in her eyes when she looked at my house. The way she scanned the property, the garage, the windows, like she was taking inventory. Dinner was fine. She complimented my cooking, asked polite questions about my career, laughed at appropriate moments. But I noticed things. The way she steered conversations toward real estate, property values, retirement plans. When Thomas mentioned I'd built the house myself, her eyes lit up in a way that had nothing to do with admiration for carpentry. You built this whole place? She asked, looking around my dining room. Most of it, I said. Had help with the electrical and plumbing, but yeah. Took me 3 years. It's beautiful, and so spacious. What is it, 4 bedrooms? 5? 5 bedrooms for 1 person now. She said it like a statement, not a question. That must feel empty sometimes. I felt Thomas shift in his seat. Dad likes his space, Madison. Of course, she said quickly. I just mean it's a lot of house. Lot of upkeep. My parents downsized after my sister and I moved out, and they love it. So much less stress. I smiled and changed the subject. But the comment stuck with me. We'd just met, and she was already suggesting I should downsize. already calculating square footage and property value in her head. After dinner, Thomas helped me with dishes while Madison excused herself to the bathroom. He was grinning like a kid. "So? What do you think?" "She seems nice," I said carefully. "Dad, come on. She's amazing. You're happy. That's what matters." He dried a plate, still smiling. "I really think she's the one, Dad. I know it's fast, but when you know, right?" I thought about Margaret, how I'd known she was the one within a week of meeting her. But that was different. Margaret never asked about my salary on our second date, never suggested I sell my car because it was old, never looked at my life like it was a balance sheet. "Just take your time, son. There's no rush." I know, but I'm 35. I'm ready to settle down." I didn't say what I was thinking. That being ready to settle down is different from settling for the wrong person. That desperation makes people blind. That sometimes the hardest thing to see is the thing right in front of you. I didn't say any of that because he was my son and he was happy, and maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was just a cynical old man who'd been alone too long. Maybe Madison was exactly what she seemed, and I was seeing ghosts where there were none. 3 months later, Thomas called with news. They were engaged. I congratulated him. I asked about the proposal. He'd taken her to the San Juan Islands, gotten down on one knee at sunset on the beach. It sounded romantic. It sounded perfect. "We're thinking a spring wedding," he said. "Madison wants to start planning right away. She's got so many ideas." "I bet she does." "Dad, you could sound more excited." "I am excited. I'm happy for you, son. When can I meet her family?" There was a pause. "They're not really in the picture much. Her dad passed away when she was young, and she and her mom don't really talk." "That's sad." "Yeah. So she's really excited about being part of our family. She keeps talking about how lucky she is to have you as a future father-in-law." "I'll bet she does," I thought. But I said, "I'm looking forward to getting to know her better." And I was. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to. Something about this whole thing felt off, like a wine that's been stored wrong, just starting to turn. You can't see it yet, but you can taste it coming. 2 weeks after the engagement, Madison suggested they have dinner at my place again. Thomas called to ask if I'd mind. "Of course not. I'll make lasagna." They arrived early. Madison was wearing casual clothes this time, but somehow still looked like she'd stepped out of a catalog. She brought wine. Cheap wine. The kind you buy at a drugstore because the label looks nice. "I thought we could celebrate," she said, handing me the bottle. I thanked her, took it to the kitchen, and quietly set it aside. I opened a 2015 Willamette Valley Pinot instead. Nothing from the cellar, just something decent from my regular rotation. During dinner, Madison started talking about wedding plans. The venue she wanted, the photographer, the flowers. Every sentence came with a price tag. "The venue alone is $30,000, she said. "But it's absolutely perfect. Right on the water. Fits 200 guests." Thomas showed me pictures, and I just fell in love. I watched my son's face. He looked nervous. "That's quite expensive," I said carefully. "I know. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, right? You can't put a price on memories." Actually, she just did. $30,000. "And we're thinking late May," she continued. "Peak season, so everything costs a bit more, but the weather will be perfect." "How much are we talking about total?" I asked. Thomas cleared his throat. "We're still working out the budget, Dad." "Around 180, Madison said casually. 180,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, it's really not that crazy. The venue, catering, photography, videography, flowers, the dress, the band, the rings. $180,000? I set my fork down, give or take. Plus, we'll need to do an engagement party. Nothing huge, just close friends and family. Maybe 15,000 for that. I looked at Thomas. He was staring at his plate. "Son, can I talk to you for a minute?" "In the kitchen." Madison smiled. "Of course. I'll just check my phone." Thomas followed me into the kitchen. I turned on the faucet so she couldn't hear. "Thomas, $180,000? "I know, Dad. I know. Do you have that kind of money?" "Not exactly." I have about 40,000 saved. Madison has some. We figured we could finance the rest. Or what? He couldn't look at me. She thought maybe you could help. There it was, the ask. The real reason for this dinner. Help how much? I don't know. 50? 100? Whatever you're comfortable with. It's traditional for the parents to contribute. The bride's parents, traditionally. Where's her mother in all this? I told you, they don't talk. Convenient. Dad. I took a breath. Son, I love you. You know that. But I'm not giving you $100,000 for a wedding. That's insane. It's not just the wedding. It's starting our life together. It's an investment in our future. An investment in whose future? Have you thought about what you could do with that money? Buy a house. Start a business. Save for kids. Anything except blow it all on one day. You don't understand. Madison has a vision. This is important to her. And what's important to you? He didn't answer. I put my hand on his shoulder. Thomas. Listen to me. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm trying to help you see clearly. This woman you've known for 6 months is asking you to go into debt for a party. Does that sound like someone who loves you? Or someone who loves what you can give her? You don't know her like I do. Maybe not. But I know when something doesn't add up. We went back to the dining room. Madison looked up from her phone, smiling. Everything okay? Fine, Thomas said. Dad's just being practical. Oh, I love that. Practical is good. Actually, speaking of practical, Thomas mentioned you have this amazing house, fully paid off. Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? You could access all that equity, live here as long as you want, and have cash available for things like, well, helping your son start his married life. I stared at her. The audacity was almost impressive. I've thought about it, I lied, decided against it. Oh, well, there are other options. You could always sell, move into something smaller. I know someone who works in real estate. Very discreet, very professional. She could give you a free valuation. I'm not selling my house, Madison. Of course not. I'm just saying, you have options, assets, resources. And Thomas is your only son. I'm sure you want to help him be happy. That's when I knew. This wasn't about love. This wasn't about building a life with Thomas. This was about extracting every penny she could from anyone connected to him, starting with me. I smiled. I want Thomas to be happy more than anything in the world. That's why I'm going to be very careful about where my money goes. Her smile faltered for just a second. Then it was back, bright and perfect. They left soon after. Thomas was quiet on the way out. Madison kissed my cheek and thanked me for dinner. That night, I lay in bed thinking. Margaret's voice in my head. She always had good instincts about people. She would have seen through Madison in 5 minutes. The next morning, I drove to a security company in town. I told them I wanted cameras installed. High quality, motion activated, infrared for night vision. I wanted them in the basement. Specifically, I wanted them covering the hallway that led to the cellar door. The technician looked confused. Just the basement? Just the basement. And I want the feed to go to my phone. I want alerts when motion is detected. That's pretty specific for home security. I'm a specific kind of person. They installed them that afternoon. 3 cameras, hidden in the ceiling beams. You'd never see them unless you knew where to look. The app on my phone showed me 3 different angles of that hallway. That door, that lock. I didn't tell Thomas. I didn't tell anyone. I just watched and waited. The engagement party happened in November. Madison insisted on a restaurant with a private room. Downtown Seattle, expensive menu, open bar, 50 people. Thomas's friends from work, Madison's friends who all looked like they shopped at the same boutique, and me, I wore a suit. I made small talk. I drank sparkling water and watched Madison work the room like a politician. She introduced everyone to her future father-in-law who built his own house. She mentioned my engineering career. She was building a narrative. Look at this family. Look at these resources. At one point, she pulled me aside. Thank you so much for coming. I know this isn't your scene. I'm here for Thomas. He's lucky to have you. And I'm lucky to have him. He's such a good man, so generous. He is generous, Sometimes too generous. She tilted her head. Is there such a thing? When people take advantage of it? Yes. Her smile stayed fixed. I would never take advantage of Thomas. I love him. I'm sure you do. In your own way. What's that supposed to mean? It means love looks different to different people. Some people love the person. Some people love what the person has. You don't know me. You're right. I don't. But I'm learning. She walked away. Thomas found me 10 minutes later. Madison says you insulted her. I told her the truth. Dad, please, can you just try? For me? I looked at my son. Really looked at him. He'd lost weight. He looked tired. There were lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 6 months ago. I'm trying, Thomas. I really am. But I wasn't trying to like Madison. I was trying to protect my son from making the biggest mistake of his life. December came. Christmas. Thomas brought Madison to my house for dinner. She brought an expensive bottle of champagne this time. Probably cost $200. Probably trying to impress me. I served prime rib. We exchanged gifts. I gave Thomas a new watch. Madison gave me a book about wine collecting, which would have been thoughtful if I didn't suspect she'd Googled gifts for wine collectors 5 minutes before buying it. After dinner, Madison excused herself to use the bathroom. Then I heard her footsteps. Not going to the bathroom, going down. To the basement. I got up casually, followed. She was standing in the hallway, looking at the cellar door. Her hand was on the knob, testing it. Locked, of course. Looking for something? She jumped. Oh, you scared me. I was just exploring. This house is so interesting. What's behind this door? Storage. What kind of storage needs such a serious lock? The kind I don't want people getting into. She laughed. Are you hiding bodies down there? Something like that. Her eyes narrowed. Thomas mentioned you collect things. Is this where you keep them? Thomas talks too much. He's proud of you. He said you have some collection that's worth a lot. Wine, right? So he had told her. Despite me asking him years ago never to discuss the cellar with anyone. Despite my very clear wishes that what I kept in that room stayed private. If Thomas told you about it, he also told you I don't show it to anyone. Not even family? Not even family. That seems paranoid. That seems smart. Not everything needs to be shared, Madison. But Thomas is your son. Don't you want to pass it on to him someday? Someday. When the time is right. When's that? When you're dead? The bluntness took me by surprise. Maybe. That's sad. You have all these things locked away, and no one even gets to enjoy them. What's the point? The point is they're mine. The point is I get to decide who sees them and when. The point is some things matter more than money. She looked at me for a long moment. Everything is money, whether you want to admit it or not. She went back upstairs. I stayed in that hallway for a while, looking at the door, at the lock, at the walls that held a lifetime of work behind them. That night, I checked the camera feed before bed. Nothing. Just an empty hallway. But I knew it was only a matter of time. January brought wedding planning in earnest. Thomas called every few days with updates. They'd booked the venue, locked in the photographer. Madison was dress shopping. How are you paying for all this? I asked during one call. We're figuring it out. I took out a loan. Madison's using credit cards. We'll pay it off. Thomas. Dad, please. I don't want to fight about this again. I'm not fighting. I'm worried. Don't be. It's going to be fine. And actually, I wanted to ask you something. Madison and I are looking at houses. We found this perfect place in Ballard. 3 bedrooms, great neighborhood, but we need help with the down payment. How much help? $80,000. I closed my eyes. No, Dad. No, Thomas. I'm not funding this. You're already in debt for a wedding. Now you want to take on a mortgage you can't afford. This is financial suicide. You don't understand. Madison really wants this house. She's always dreamed of owning a home. Then she should save for it. Work for it. Not expect handouts from other people. It's not a handout. It's a gift from a father to his son. A gift is something freely given. This is extortion. He hung up on me. We didn't talk for 2 weeks. It killed me. But I held firm. If I gave in now, it would never stop. There would always be one more thing Madison needed, one more dream that required my money. Late February, Thomas called. Can we come over? We need to talk. They arrived that evening. Madison looked upset. Thomas looked worse. We sat in my living room. Nobody spoke for a full minute. Finally, Madison said, I think we got off on the wrong foot. I think you think I'm after Thomas's money, or your money, and that's not fair. Okay. I love your son. I want to build a life with him. Yes, I have dreams. Yes, I want nice things. But who doesn't? Is it wrong to want a beautiful wedding? A nice home? A comfortable life? It's not wrong to want things. It's wrong to expect other people to pay for them. You're his father, and you're a grown woman with a job. Act like it. She stood up. Thomas, are you going to let him talk to me like this? Thomas looked at me, then at her. Dad, you're being unreasonable. I'm being honest. No, you're being cruel. Madison is going to be my wife. She's going to be part of this family. And you're treating her like she's some kind of criminal. I'm treating her like someone who's shown me exactly who she is. Madison's eyes were wet. I have never done anything to you. All I've done is love your son. And you've decided I'm not good enough. You've decided I'm some gold digger because I want a nice wedding and I asked about your house. Do you know how that makes me feel? I know how it makes Thomas feel. Broke, stressed, miserable. That's not because of me, isn't it? She grabbed her purse. I'm leaving. Thomas, you coming? He looked at me one more time. I thought you'd be happy for me. I am happy you found someone. I'm not happy you found her. He left. The door closed. The house was quiet again. I poured myself 2 fingers of bourbon and sat in the dark. Margaret's picture on the mantel, smiling at me. What would she say? Would she tell me I was right? Would she tell me to apologize? I didn't know. All I knew was that I couldn't watch my son destroy his life. March came. Thomas stopped calling. I texted him twice. No response. I drove to Seattle once, parked outside his apartment, almost knocked on his door. Didn't. Then, at 3:15 in the morning on March 18th, my phone buzzed. Motion detected. I grabbed it, pulled up the camera feed, the hallway, the cellar door, and Madison, standing there with something in her hand, a lockpick set. She was trying to break into my cellar. I watched her for 10 minutes. She wasn't good at it. Her hands shook. She kept looking over her shoulder, but she was determined. She'd come into my house. How? Did she still have a key from that first dinner? Had she made a copy at 3 in the morning to steal from me? I got dressed, got in my car, made the 40-minute drive to Seattle, parked outside Thomas's apartment and called him. Dad? What time is it? 3:15. Where's Madison? What? She's asleep. No, she's not. She's in my house trying to break into my wine cellar. What are you talking about? Check your bed, Thomas. Is she there? I heard movement, silence, then Thomas's voice, different now, scared. She's not here. I know. I'm outside your apartment. Get dressed. We're going to my house. Dad. Now, Thomas. He came down 5 minutes later. We didn't talk during the drive. I handed him my phone, showed him the camera feed. Madison was still there, still working on the lock. I don't understand, he said. Don't you? We pulled into my driveway at 4:30. The house was dark. I unlocked the front door quietly. Thomas followed me to the basement stairs. We could hear her before we saw her, muttering to herself, frustrated. We reached the hallway. She was sitting on the floor, lockpick set scattered around her, crying. Madison, Thomas said. She looked up. Her face went white. Thomas, I can explain. Explain what? Explain why you're breaking into my father's cellar at 4 in the morning? I just wanted to see. He's so secretive about it. I thought maybe if I could just see what was down there, I could understand. I thought maybe there was something we could sell, something that could help us. Help us? Thomas's voice broke. Or help you? She stood up. Us, Thomas. Everything I've done is for us. The wedding, the house, all of it. I'm trying to build something. By stealing from my father? It's not stealing. It's his son's inheritance. Eventually, it'll be yours anyway. Why can't we access it now when we actually need it? I stepped forward. Because it's not yours. Because he doesn't need it. Because the only person who needs anything is you. And what you need is help. Fuck you, she spat. Sitting in your big house with your secret collection, judging everyone. You're pathetic. A lonely old man clinging to bottles of wine like they're going to love you back. Better than clinging to someone else's son because you can't afford your own life. Thomas took off the engagement ring from where it hung on a chain around his neck. Madison had made him wear it there when she decided the wedding ring needed to match it. We're done, he said. Thomas, please. We're done, Madison. Pack your things. Be out of my apartment by tomorrow. She looked at him, at me, back at him. Then she grabbed her purse and ran up the stairs. The front door slammed. Thomas and I stood there in that hallway. He was crying now, silent tears running down his face. I'm sorry, he whispered. I know. I should have listened. You loved her. Or you thought you did. That's not your fault. I feel so stupid. I put my arm around his shoulders. You're not stupid. You're human. You wanted something to work. That doesn't make you stupid. It makes you hopeful. We sat on the basement stairs until the sun came up. Didn't talk much. Just sat together like we used to when he was a kid and couldn't sleep. Finally, as light started filtering through the basement windows, Thomas said, "What's really down there? In the cellar?" I pulled the key from around my neck, unlocked the door, reached inside, and turned on the light. The cellar wasn't huge, maybe 20 by 15 feet, but every wall was lined with custom racks, temperature controlled, humidity monitored, security system that would make a bank jealous. And wine, rows and rows of it, some bottles decades old, some from vineyards that don't exist anymore. Labels in French, Italian, German, Spanish, reds, whites, ports, champagnes. A lifetime of collecting. Thomas whistled low. How many bottles? About 800. And they're worth? Around 400,000, give or take. Some more, some less. That 1,947 Chateau d'Yquem, there is worth 30,000 alone. He stared. You've been sitting on $500,000 of wine. I've been sitting on 35 years of learning. Every bottle is a memory. Every label is a story. This isn't about money, Thomas. It never was. Then what's it about? It's about having something that's yours, something you built yourself, that nobody can take from you or devalue or demand. It's about discipline, patience, choosing quality over speed. It's about understanding that the best things in life require time. I pulled out a bottle. 1982 Bordeaux, Chateau Margaux. This vintage. I bought it the year you were born. Been saving it for something special. What's more special than this? Nothing, I said. Let's open it. We went upstairs. I decanted the wine, let it breathe. Made coffee, scrambled eggs. We sat at my kitchen table and drank a $1,000 bottle of wine with breakfast while the sun fully rose. It tasted like heaven, like time, like everything good that patience can bring. Dad, Thomas said, would you teach me? About wine? About collecting? I thought you'd never ask. That was 4 months ago. Since then, Thomas comes down every weekend. We open bottles. We taste. We talk about terroir and tannins and aging potential. I'm teaching him to appreciate what patience creates, what discipline builds, what real value looks like. He's different now, calmer, more careful. He went to therapy, dealt with the debt, got his life back on track. He dates, but carefully. He asks my opinion sometimes, not because he needs permission, but because he values the perspective. Madison tried calling him for weeks after that night. Sent texts, emails, showed up at his work. He blocked her everywhere. Last I heard, she was engaged to someone else, some investment banker. I feel sorry for him, but that's not my problem. The cameras are still in the basement. I check them sometimes, mostly out of habit. But the cellar door isn't just for protection anymore. Thomas has a key now, his own key. He earned it. Last weekend, he brought down a bottle he'd purchased himself. A 2018 Willamette Valley Pinot. Nothing fancy. But he'd researched it, talked to the vintner, made an informed choice. We opened it together, tasted it. He told me what he noticed: the cherry notes, the earthiness, the smooth finish. Pretty good, I said. Pretty good? Dad, I spent 3 months researching this. I know. And it shows. You're learning. He smiled. Thanks to you. No. Thanks to patience. Thanks to taking the time to do it right. We finished the bottle, started another, talked until midnight about everything and nothing. About his job, my garden, the mariner's terrible season, what kind of wine pairs with salmon. At some point, Thomas said, I get it now. Why you never let anyone in here. It's not about the money. It's not even about the wine. Then what's it about? It's about having something that's completely yours, that you built, that nobody can demand or take or cheapen. It's about knowing your own worth isn't tied to what you give other people. It's about boundaries. I raised my glass. Now you're learning. We clinked glasses. The sound echoed in that cellar, in that space that used to be locked away, that now opens freely because the right person finally asked to see it. Some things are worth protecting, but some people are worth protecting them for. And knowing the difference, that's the most valuable thing I can teach my son. The cameras still record everything. The motion sensors still alert my phone. But now when they go off, it's just Thomas, coming down to pick out a bottle for dinner, or to check the humidity levels, or to sit and read about vintages and harvests. He's building his own collection now, slowly, carefully, only buying what he loves, what speaks to him, what he's willing to wait years to open at the perfect moment. That's my legacy, not the bottles, not the money they're worth, but the patience they represent, the discipline, the understanding that real value comes from time and care and refusing to rush. Madison wanted to sell my collection to fund her dreams. She saw dollar signs. Thomas sees stories, memories, time made tangible. That's the difference between someone who wants what you have and someone who wants to understand who you are. The cellar door is open now. The key hangs on 2 chains, mine and his. The wine waits patiently in the dark, growing more valuable with every passing year, ready for the moments that matter. And I wait too. Less patient than the wine, but more patient than I used to be, knowing that the best things like good sons and good wine just need time to reach their full potential.